Social media is so outwardly focused. We got to be showing what our relationship looks like. That's why people break up. I'm a breakup coach, and I see so many people breaking up because of this damn social media. I'm
Mhm.
like, what the hell is going on? We don't have to always be on, because I used to feel that way until I started listening to myself.
Welcome to another episode of the Holistic Sister Circle. We are super excited for this topic, and we're all about social media detoxing and versus always online. So we have some really fun questions to be asked here. And through this, if you have questions or you want to chime in with us, please don't hesitate to comment or share inside of the post a comment section of the channel. And without further ado, we'll go ahead and take it away. So our first question of today is, what does healthy social media use look like to you? What does healthy social media use look like to you? Elmira, we'll start with you, and then Lisa will have you follow up.
Okay, I actually have ABCs for that. It is awareness, balance, and connection, because I use these ABCs with clients, with myself. So the awareness piece goes, how does social media make you feel? Like if you're reading a certain post, are you on a certain platform? How does it feel in your body? When it comes to balance, it's how often are you on something? Are you sleeping on TikTok at night? Like that's out of balance. Like you got to know, are you in
Mhm.
balance when it comes to your social media? And then connection. This is big for me. It's the main reason I get on social media in the first place, is to connect with people. I wouldn't know you, Viair, just meeting you, Lisa, without social media. So it's about being strategic with this ABCs. And a lot of times we need a detox. And I know we'll get into that, but that's my meaning of social media while you're on it.
Yeah, I like that structure, that ABC, right? Makes it usable. I think the responsible use. I mean, social media should be something that's positive in your life, and that's just the basics, right? If it's causing trouble in your social situation, maybe you're avoiding because you're on too much, or if it's not building you up, giving you information, it could be spiritual help, it could be uh, you know developmental help like growth as a person, or it could be just knowledge like cooking or anything like that. All that is available. So to me, if you limit it to what it helps you with or builds you up with, you're in good shape, right? We know the rest of it and why we will need a detox, right? So that's kind of how I look at it in general.
I actually love this topic because, one, first of all, I totally agree with both of you. And I think the biggest thing that I've noticed as well is when I'm not going on social media for a clear purpose and I'm just scrolling, my
Mhm.
mind tends to wander. And then after like a few weeks, I notice that there's certain habits that I didn't have before that I now have just randomly picked up, or just certain energies that I didn't discover before that I'm just randomly picking up. So I think it's also really important, to Amara's point as well, is like when you are more aware, and then to Lisa, for your point, is not just being aware, but also making sure that you're going in with a purpose and like, why are we doing this? Without those things, you tend to wander, and that becomes something that's not always good, depending on what the situation or the circumstance can be. So I definitely would share too, just from a social media use perspective, like I think it's so easy to do when you're a business owner, because it's like that you're going in with a purpose of connecting to find some type of solution or to connect and collaborate with someone else. But when you're just randomly scrolling and you don't have that perspective, it can be very harmful, honestly.
Mhm.
Okay, next question. Have you ever taken a social media detox? And if so, what prompted it and what changed for you?
I have. I'm actually on one right now. Starting October the 1st, I limited my social media mainly with Facebook, and I'm only get on there to post. Yeah, I'm sharing some stuff on my Instagram stories, but I will tell you, in 2018, I did a whole year social media fast. And I learned so many lessons from that. My biggest thing is us going inward. We're so outwardly focused, and I found myself in that trap too, seeking the approval as a business owner. I need to go for the money. Like, how am I going to make money if I'm not on TikTok, if I'm not on Instagram, if I'm not on YouTube? But what I've discovered, it's all lies. It's really all lies. What we've been told about social media is lies. And I'm speaking to somebody who's on social media, who's been on Periscope but these detoxes have shown me what wrongs are you doing, Elmira? And I urge the audience to look at themselves too. How is social media affecting you? And you won't know that until you take a break. It's much like when I do my water fast, or when I do a dry fast, or when I do all these other fasts that I participate in, lemonade fast. It's the break that shows you the lesson, and it allows you to go inward. Social media is so outwardly focused. We got to be showing what our relationship looks like. That's why people break up. I'm a breakup coach, and I see so many people breaking up because of this damn social media. I'm like, what the hell is going on? And for me, it's given me insight onto my own practices, how I'm using it and abusing it. And then I'm able to see what other people are doing too. It's given me a clearer vision, because I can speak to this and then I'll hand it over. But here recently, we know back in September when Charlie Kirk died, that particular assassination, so many people were going back and forth, because my detoxes and my awareness, I was able to stand the middle ground and say, well, why are these people hating on him? And why do the other people love him? And it just gives you a clearer perspective on what's really going on, and not this battle. Because social media can be that. It can be this battleground for all of these issues.
Yeah, for sure, a battleground, right? People get really brave behind a keyboard or their phone. I've taken a couple minor, let's call them detoxes. One was when the TikTok was going to get thrown out of the United States, and because they were worried about the Chinese company that owned it farming our data or following us or whatever it was. And I found myself too easily an hour later thinking, what was I just doing for an hour? Flip through all that stuff. So I took a break. I removed it from my phone, and I haven't put it back, but I find myself using other things, right, instead. So mostly, I'm in my 50s, so Facebook and Instagram are kind of my jam. A little bit of YouTube, but not so much Snap or some of these other things that the other folks are using. But I think the pause that it gives you to take a detox is what like Elmira, like you said, being able to notice the two different sides and look at them a little more objectively because you took the pause, right? I mean, we work on that all the time in therapy and neurofeedback, like being able to not be so reactive, where you just flare off into your opinion or your emotions. And we know those algorithms are built to keep you coming back, right? The computer science behind these apps are built to hit you in a way so that you are hooked, to come back for more, to get instant gratification, to see what you think is glorious or impressive more and more and more. And as you like a page or an account, you'll get flooded with things just like it. So it's a definite, the detox gives you a little perspective from the pause, I think. Yeah.
No, yeah, that's so true. I think so for me, I've never been intentional with a detox. I've had times where I've just stopped posting. And I guess you can see, you can say that's a detox. It's more reactive one. But I've had times where I'm just like, okay, this has become what I don't want. And I have that awareness to say, okay, like the direction that this is going, I don't like this. So let me just stop. And I do believe that there is a better way to do that, because I think it's important that whoever you've been connecting with on social media, you at least like let them know or kind of share what your reason for that is. That's something that I definitely want to get better with, because sometimes I don't recommend anyone do this, but if I feel like I'm just moving in a direction that I don't need to go down, I'll just stop everything. And I won't always communicate what I'm doing, because sometimes I don't even know what to do. And I don't want to necessarily share, hey, I'm just leaving and I don't know how long. But I'll just be here. Like I don't always know what that will look like. So I think it's also important to, even for me, to always consistently have a batch of content that you can just have out as you're kind of going through that, as you're kind of going through that detox, to really figure out what is that next stage or next phase for you. That's really something that I'm learning myself about in real time. So.
Well, and I think it's interesting
Yeah.
what you just brought up, being, I'm coming from a perspective of consuming social media, but you are coming from a perspective of your production in social media, right? So those are really different stances. But I wonder, maybe Elmira, you do both. I don't know, but I don't produce a ton. I have someone who helps me with that, but I wonder if the detox does it different things for you from those two positions.
It does, because a question I had for both you and Viair was like, can we get hooked in a good way? Like, we're talking about the creator versus the consumer, but is there an element where we can be hooked on social media in a good way? Because we're always talking about, I need a detox because I'm doing the doom strolling. And I learned a new term today too, called fubbing. Do y'all know about fubbing?
What is that?
So fubbing, we know what it is. It's when you're on a date or you're with your friend and they're on their phone. They're distracted by their phone. There's a term for it called fubbing. Like they're just on their phone. They're not listening to you. They're not paying attention to you. And so with all of these things, I'm just curious. And to your point, Lisa, I have resolved, like when I do my detox, I'm okay with not creating, because who told us we need to create all the time? Like who set that parameter telling us
the same people doing those algorithms?
Yes. It's insane to me.
It does add pressure, I think, for sure. The whole, you have to post every day, or you need to have this, your reels need to be this long, or you have to interact somehow, whether it's quizzes or, live, or I can't even think of other ways, but there is pressure. I think, Viair, you probably experience that more.
Yeah, I would say like this past year and a half has probably been the most content I've ever put out at one time. And in a good way. Like it's been great. I've engaged with like the most people I've ever engaged with. I've had the greatest connections. But I've also found that with all of this, it has also allowed me to see like where people are. And that was one of the reasons why this type of style of show was created, because it was never honestly meant to be a debate. It was more so meant to say, okay, where is your happy medium? Like, why is it every time we come on social media, it's a left or a right thing? it's a yes or a no. It's a, it's always like you have to pick a side. And the goal of this was, okay, well, what if I'm in a season right now where I just need to be still? What if I don't know, a side in this season may look a little bit better, or maybe I need to do a blend of both. And it was really to give people an opportunity to say, okay, like, you can have a chance and you can have these connections, and you don't always have to just be on all the time. Like, sometimes you just need to sit in the mess, sit in the chaos, sit in whatever you have going on, so you can actually identify what makes the most sense for you. And I appreciate this, because it's like, if I hadn't kind of put out all of that content, I wouldn't have got to this perspective. But now I'm also learning for my own sake. Now I need to sit in my mess to figure out where this will go moving forward, because I don't want to be someone that is always feeling like, I have to perform all the time and da, 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 da. Like, and I know that I caught myself getting to that point, and I was like, oh, like, I have to take a step back for a second and really prioritize and figure out, okay, where can I, have help here, and how can I still show up for people, but just in a different way that aligns with my needs a little bit better, and not just solely focusing on, what everyone else needs in this regard. So yeah, I've learned so much. And that's why I'm like, I haven't really said that I was taking a detox, but you can tell that I am just by going on my page right now. So yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's good to take those pauses. And one of the things I'm doing with the podcast I create on social media is it's only 13 weeks. Like, I do 13 weeks, take a break, 13 weeks, take a break. So during the year, it'll be 3 seasons, so to speak, because we're not always on. I don't want to be always online. I don't always want to have a guest. I don't always want to talk. I want to sit in my pajamas sometimes. Like, this is too much.
Yeah. Get a break. That's a good plan. I like that.
It is. I'm like, I need to, yes. See, Elmira's my girl when it comes to podcasting, because she's been doing it a lot longer than me. And I know, we exchange information all the time. She's been on YouTube for a while, things like that. But that's one thing that I'm learning in real time. Like, okay, Viair, like, you can take a break. Like, people like, it's okay. It's okay that you have your own things going on, and you need to take a moment to be still. So
yeah, because it's all about listening to yourself inward.
Exactly.
Going back to the body. What is your body saying? Does your body say, I need to produce social media or consume social media all 52 weeks of the year? We got Christmas and Thanksgiving coming up. Do you want to be spending time with your family and loved ones? Or do you want to be posting your Christmas pictures every moment? Guess who got this? Uncle Joe did this. We have to understand with our practices what's going on. Like, our practices should predicate what's going on in our body. So you should know what to do, when to take that break, when to turn your phone on, do not disturb, all of these things. That's what I do. I don't even have my notifications on anything. And these are just some things we can easily implement. We don't have to always be on. Because I used to feel that way until I started listening to myself, listening to my body, and saying, how is this making you feel, Elmira, when you are always on? When you keep getting the Instagram notification, when you keep even the text messages. I don't want them.
Yeah, that was actually something I learned to do too from a business coach I had many, many years ago. But he would always say, like, one of the main reasons most people can't focus is because there are notifications. And if you don't get into the habit of having that focus time, or that deep work time, or that time kind of just with yourself, you're always going to take 15, 20, 30 minutes to even get started with whatever the next task is that you have to do, or that you're looking to get done. So yeah, I don't have my notifications on anything anymore, because I would always be ping ponging. Oh, and then, it would take me forever to get back on track. Yeah.
Good points.
This is a good one. Okay. What benefits do you see from staying consistently online and connected?
Well, I think there's definitely you are more open to new communities that you would never come across in your daily life, right? If you're into hobbies or, religion or books, you can find anything to look into, to find people to talk to about it, etc. So there's that support, mental health support, divorce support, alcoholism support. Like there's everything on there, in endless, in every language all over the world. So that piece, I think, is what comes to mind for me. What do you think, Elmira?
Oh, I can take that a step further too and go back to my initial thing with the C, connection. The biggest benefit is being able to connect with people. Because one of the things that I found on my healing journey and just me exploring and expanding in business and all ways of life, the people who I liked, they didn't live around me. My family don't do the same things that I do or want to, like you said, in the same communities. So being online, being on social media has gave me access to all of these things. I watched this channel called 363 Empire, Brother Rich. I'm able to see his show and his guests. I'm able to Holistic Sister Circle, we all here right now. I'm able to actually commune and talk to people who are on my same wavelength. That's huge to me because I'm international. I talk to people in South Africa, the UK, you name it, all over the United States. And it's opened my eyes, it's opened my world. That's been the biggest benefit, is the connection, like actually connecting people who can help me on my soul mission, who can help me heal the entire world with hearts and hands. Like that's my mission, that's my actual vision. So I can't not be on social media. So I think that's the biggest benefit, is the connection.
Yeah. No, that's so true. I mean, I don't know about you all, but the level of support, there's just so much support out there, no matter what it is that you are nervous about, scared about, have questions about. Like there's always someone in some type of group or community or whatever that's willing to open up and say, hey, like I can help with that, which has been huge. And I just, even for me, I think about, I'm just like, wow, like there's so many people that I would have never met if it wasn't for social media, like including the two of you. I would have never met you like at all. And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for the experiences. I'm grateful for the opportunity to continue to connect. And I think it's great too, because it's one of those things where you also don't have to worry about certain people or certain relationships, essentially trying to force themselves on you either, right? Like if you decide, hey, I don't even want to be in this community anymore, cool. Like, that's fine too.
Click of a button, right?
Right. Like you don't feel weird about changing courses or, deciding, hey, I want something different right now. Like that's okay. And, whatever that journey looks like for you, like you have the support, if that's your mind frame. I think that's important as well. Like if you have a mind frame of, oh, I just want to, be dismissive and I don't want to necessarily focus on connection, then yes, obviously that's what you get. But if you're someone who, truly and genuinely feeds off of connection and you love connecting with new people and you love of where this relationship could potentially go and thrive, you're always going to get more of the same just because of where you are mentally. So I think that's awesome. What emotional or energetic challenges come with always being accessible? Ooh, this is a big one. I really like this question.
Good one.
Oh, emotional challenges. I say not knowing yourself.
Mm,
Because that's going to be a big, because the key word there, so there were two words: emotional challenges, emotions. How do I know my emotions if I'm always online, if I'm always watching with Cardi B, what's she doing, or anybody? I can name anybody. It could be President Trump. It's like
Mhm.
I don't even know myself because I'm always tapped in and tuned in to their frequency. So for me, that's why the detox is so important, because I need access to my emotions. Access to my emotions comes from me being an army of one, comes from me stepping away to say, okay, Elmira, how are you really feeling? Oh, you're feeling a little unsure, uncertain.
Mm.
Now, I'm not feeling unsure and uncertain because of what President Trump did. I'm actually feeling unsure and uncertain. So we got to be tuned in. I go back to, this is what I preach all the time: inside your own self. Self-care. It's what leads to a lot of breakups, because we're emotionally tuned, tied to these other people. We can cheat on social media. We can spend all our time on there. Then my partner is getting jealous because I'm in the group, or it could be anything, but it's just knowing your emotions and not other people's emotions.
mm,
I think that's really important. It makes me think of teens, right, who are still just working through those identity phases and knowing who are they and who do they want to be. And you remember those ages where they would shift gears of personality depending on what group you're with or what friends are hanging around, because they're trying on all these hats, right? Of what fits me best. And I think without a very intentional social media use, that anxiety of, are they my people, or should I be following this group, or what if I'm left out from that group and I'm not invited, and how that makes them feel. You know, we have a saying in the therapy world that anxiety clouds awareness, because it's all the what if, what if, what if, what if. So we don't look internally like you're saying. We just are scanning all the time for what might go wrong or what might, be unsafe for us. And I think that's where the detriment of social media comes in, right? It really can get under your skin in a negative way. But in being accessible all the time, people can see, if you don't have any kind of guards on how often you're on, or how many people can see where you're at. The Snapchat, you can find their location, right? There's a location piece to that. There might be to the other apps as well, but so
yeah, there is to Instagram too, unless you turn it off.
mhm, mhm. Yeah, that idea of being accessible all the time gives me a pit in my stomach. It's just the thought of like, oh, no way. No, thank you.
Yeah.
I got a question for you, Lisa, because you're talking about the teens. Do you find them being accessible is a benefit or more than adults, or is it not? Like, do they find, hey, I got my location on, I want my friends to know where I am, I want my parents to know where I am, versus us who are older, we're like, I don't know, I don't want people to know where I am. Do you find that there's a distinction or a difference?
I actually think it's more detrimental to the younger ones. There's other ways to track your kiddo, or to let people know where you are. I think there's studies about the amount of sleep a night that a teen gets today versus 2000, the year 2000, and it's 2 hours less a night. And that's falls over into, and I don't know if Viair and I talked about this, it falls over into ADD and being diagnosed with attention issues
Mm-hmm.
and impulsivity. But for us, it's, well, is it really ADD, or are they just not sleeping? So they have no energy and they have no resources to hold their attention where it needs to be to attend. So that year perfectly lines up with smartphones and tablets, right? So
Yeah.
they're not writing papers for an extra 2 hours. they're on games or social media, and a lot of the games are interactive, so they're talking to their friends on their headset, and so
What's interesting about what you're saying too.
So I actually think it's
Mhm.
more trouble. Yeah.
Wow. What are your thoughts about, because there are a lot of adults that still have the mindset of teens and young adults, even if they're, 30, 40, 50, doesn't matter. Mentally, it can still be looked at as the same. Have you seen, or, you can let me know too, I don't know, but from that perspective of teens, like, have you kind of seen that in adults as well?
Well, there certainly are adults that have not matured and developed into even, the phases of adulthood. You think of young adult, where they're still trying to
Right.
figure out their path and all that stuff. And then there's more settled, span of years. Usually it's marriage or families or career is growing. There's the old cliche of the middle-aged meltdown, like the crisis. Um, I don't know. I mean, in my experience, adults that have not matured, there was a reason, there was an interruption somewhere.
Mhm.
Um, and if 25 years ago was the shift into smartphones and such, and more portable laptops and more portable tablets and things like that, where tech really started to take off. I don't know if that correlates. I don't know.
Yeah.
Elmira, you work with couples, right? So do you see that?
Well, I mainly work with singles after breakup, but I would say, because I'm speaking just in general with family, friends, clients, some people just never grow up. I mean, it's just the reality of the situation. Because think about how our world is. What does growing up mean? We have this phrase called adulting. So for some, growing up means all I do is pay bills. All I do is go to work. All I do is pay for my kids' soccer. And it's just a rat race. Like
Horrible.
this is the story. I mean, but this is how the people they see being adult as a grump. I don't want to be an adult. So I choose to be a kid who can play, who can snoop on people on social media, who can be all up in the business and see what the gossip is on Instagram. You know what I'm saying? Like, so why wouldn't I be a kid? Because a kid allows me to play. Even though we may term it as immature, what has our society in 2025, 2026 deemed as adulthood? Like, that's just a question I ask. And it's why I incorporate play into just what I do, not being childish, not being immature. It's because of the imagination. And I feel like some adults don't want to be an adult. This identity of an adult that it is right now, where you got to work the 9 to 5. You're so stressed. You only get a break on the weekend, one vacation a year. Who wants that crap?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's trauma, but who really wants to be an adult?
And I mean, majority of people don't. I mean, if you knew exactly what it required to be an adult, like, who's like, oh, I'm gonna sign up for that? Most people are not. I even think about the children. Like, I'm like, hey, you sure you want this? Because now you have a responsibility. And not everyone wants that accountability especially women. Especially women. We don't always want that accountability. Most women don't want accountability. We don't want that. So when I think about it too, and I guess this goes back to your point about just looking within, actually have a question coming in. what does looking within look like? Like, what are some things that people can do to ensure that they're, you know, that they're going, that they're really focusing on what's happening internally and being able to use that to kind of fuel their decision making? Because I don't
Okay.
even know
I'll
most people know what that is.
Mhm.
okay, I'll give that take. Start in the morning. When you wake up in the morning, what is the first thing you do? Do you reach for your phone? Do you reach for the social media or do you reach for yourself? So looking within would be taking the first step to reach for yourself. Why are you reaching for the phone before you check in with yourself and say,
Mhm.
how are my knees feeling today? How is my head feeling today? What am I
Mhm.
grateful for today? If you have a partner and you done daggone reach for Facebook, Instagram, TikTok before you hug your spouse, what are we doing? So going within means checking in at the first part of the day. And then secondly, because I'm all about like practical things you could do, because you can do this right now. Secondly, do a time audit. This is something I did years ago, and it was so revealing because it showed me how much time am I spending on this social media? How much time am I spending going out to eat? How much time am I spending talking to this person I don't even like? So I looked
Mhm.
at my time throughout the day. I literally broke it down. I said 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. I did this. I didn't like what I was doing. That was my process of going within. So many of us are not spending time with ourselves. We're so outwardly focused. So just start at the top of the day. How am I feeling? Check in. Are my shoulders a little weird today? I don't like my hair. I don't like my eye. Whatever it is that comes up, allow it to speak to you. Allow God to speak to and through you. And then, secondly, do a time audit. You can do this for one day and it'll be revealing. You don't have to do it like I did for an entire week, but it will tell you what's going on inside because how you're spending your time is going to be an indicator of what you're doing or why you're not getting the results you want to get.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. I
That
like
is so
those two.
true.
The time
Yeah.
audit, I just clenched my jaw like, ooh, I know I wouldn't like what I wrote down.
Why you wouldn't like it?
Oh, I just, when you get in those modes where you just feel like you're going, 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 but what got accomplished? Those kinds of things. But it's
But
good
I'll
Yeah.
say this,
exercise for sure.
Lisa, to what you're saying is not always that's about the going inward too. It's not
Mm-hmm.
always about the accomplishment. It's what did you do with that time? Did you feel joy because you sat on the couch for 2 hours and watched your favorite show? You didn't accomplish anything, but you accomplished rest.
Right.
Hmm. Hmm. Good point. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think, that start of the day thing is huge. I have friends and, that are huge meditators for years and years, or do their prayer and devotion in the morning, first thing, before coffee even, or people who just sit and do kind of an internal scan of what am I noticing? What does it look like? If I could name it, you know, if I could describe the color it is, the shape it is, what's the texture, there's all sorts of ways to take that time in the morning. And I have yet to meet someone who doesn't say it totally helps me,
Mm-hmm.
right? Most people who have those habits, it's super helpful to them. Either it grounds them or it guides them or whatever you want to call it. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I will say too that sometimes, our bodies are always talking to us, but those times where you're just absolutely not listening, it will force you to slow down. You will
Mm-hmm.
get sick
Mm-hmm.
and you won't have a choice. And I think that's
Mm-hmm.
important too. And, we don't always think about or realize is that when the body needs rest, however that looks like, when the body needs to detox, it will speak and it will communicate what those needs are. And it's just really up to us to decide when. Are we going to listen to the signals today? Or are we going to wait until those signals continue to pile up to the point where it's very difficult for us to actually do something about it later.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think this maintenance time is, it's so valuable. This has nothing to do with social media, what I'm about to talk about. But one of the things that I have just really been keen on as well is not just because I've done a time audit as well, and it was so beneficial for me. Now what I've been doing to take it a step further is also auditing what I eat within each season, this is big because for a long time, like I was, really big on, okay, this is what I'm eating. These are the things that don't cause like digestive issues and things like that. But now I'm like, okay, well, it's a new season. The season has changed. Like, what are the foods that, are actually going to help nourish my body this season? What should I be doing in these next few months during this time? Am I eating more soups and stews? If that's the case, like, what am I putting in them? So I think, all of what we're talking about, it doesn't just start or end with social media, but it literally is like, how are you just detoxing your entire life?
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like for you?
I'm going to do that food thing, Viair, because no, this is real stuff here. Like, I've been feeling cramping in my stomach just because I've been trying to eat what I ate during the summer. It ain't working. Yeah, we had soup the other day, but you just gave me an idea to really hone in on what works for my body in each season.
Yeah, that's something that has been new for us because, again, like you were saying, this has worked for me in the past. I'm just going to keep doing it. And what I realized was, wow, like my body's not feeding off of that anymore. Like it doesn't like those things right now. And that's okay, right? But like, what do I need to change? What does that look like for me now? So that has been super beneficial because it allows me to now have a clearer mind. And now through that, I can make better decisions because I'm not sluggish or my body's not tired and things like that. Like I'm more aware of what's happening because of what I'm feeding myself and making sure that I'm not malnourished either. So that's been really helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So we have about 15 minutes left. Before we kick things off, I have one last question for us, and then I would love for you both to just get into who you are, what you do, and how we can connect with you further. So our last question is, what does a happy medium look like between disconnecting and engaging?
I'll let you go, Lisa.
Okay. Thanks. No.
She's like,
I was gonna go, but do you want me to go?
You will go. Yeah, if you have thoughts, go for it. I'm going to get mine organized.
Wrap your head around it. What a happy medium looks like is just what we were talking about with the food. There are seasons. We as women know this better than anybody with our cycles. Our menstrual cycles. There's going to be seasons when I need to be on. There's going to be seasons when I need to be off. We have to listen to our body. Listen to your body. If it's saying you don't need to be on here now because you got a lot going on with your family, with the children. And I'm going to use an example of this guy I know. His name is Sunny Day. We met him in New Orleans. He's like a drag queen, but he like does karaoke. That's how we met him at this tiki bar. But just the other day on social media, he said, I'm taking a break for my health. So for me, that's the happy medium is your health. Is your health dictating you need to take a break right now? You can't perform. You can't create the content. You can't even consume. Your fingers aren't working enough because you laid up in the bed. Like, this is serious. We got to just listen to what is your body speaking. Me, as a trained as a massage therapist, I'm always big on that. What is your body saying? What is your blood saying? What is your heart saying? What are the muscles saying? What are your eyes saying? What is your taste buds saying? Like, everything is a whole unit. The happy medium is built off of your health, nobody else's health. Because everybody could be like, oh, if you're not on social media, you're not going to make any money. That's what they told me in 2018, but it was not true. That was the most fruitful year ever because I paid attention to my health and I paid attention to what I was supposed to do. So it goes back to, what are you supposed to be doing in this season?
I think that's good guidance, right? To tune inward. It goes back to from the get-go. Look internally, right? We've been talking about that today. I kind of come from the other part of the holism of us, Elmira, in the sense of what's a happy medium? It depends on your functioning, right? Your body tells you some of that. Your brain tells you some of that. Are you suffering due to the amount you're consuming or producing, right? Is it causing trouble with your relationships? Is it causing trouble with your sleep? Is it causing trouble with your focus? Emotions, all that kinds of stuff. If you're able to have healthy emotions, healthy academics or career, healthy relationships, then I would say it's not causing trouble. However, I think most people know when it is. They know. It's just like when you're not behaving well. You may not want to admit it. That goes back to the maturity thing and, too. But I think coming up with what do I do instead is hard for folks. If I'm consuming or producing too much, what do I fill that with? Like Viair, you talked about time with yourself. Elmira, you brought that up too. So the medium of trust yourself, trust your guides, gods, whatever it is, right? But also pay attention to your functioning. It's kind of what I think of.
Yeah. One of the things that came to my mind too on this topic is I remember I was in therapy. This was about 1.5 years ago. And at this time, I was really trying to figure out, how do I move differently in the season that I was in at that time? And one of the things that my therapist had mentioned to me was, she said, why don't you go ahead and just research some things that you've never done before that you would just be excited to try? And I was like, okay. So I go on and research and I'm like, oh, I would love to do this and I would love to do that. And I was like getting excited as I'm writing it down. And then she's like, why don't you just pick 2 or 3 that you would love to just tackle this month? Like, you just want to get it out the way. You want to have fun. And I was like, okay. And one of those things was yoga. And I had no idea that, later during that journey, that would also teach me how to breathe. That would teach me how, to make sure that I'm honoring my body and I'm looking inward. That would teach me how to, again, surround myself with like-minded people and be a part of community. So anyway, I share this to say that if you are, to Lisa's point, like, I don't know what to do now, like, what do I do instead? Why don't you make a list? Make a list of some things that you would be excited about trying. And how can you incorporate those things into your day instead of just always being on to the point where you're like, I'm just going to go to social media just to bypass time. But actually think about some things of like, oh, I would love to do this, right? And it doesn't have to be anything that's expensive. It doesn't even have to cost anything. Maybe you don't even go outside enough. Maybe you want to, I don't know, get more fresh air throughout the day. Maybe you want to spend more time with your family. Like, whatever it is, it doesn't have to cost anything. But why don't you supplement it with that and see where that gets you?
Yeah, because that's one of the things that's been revealed on this current social media detox. I've been singing more because that's what I love to do. So I will just pull up the karaoke songs on YouTube and start. And my boyfriend is like, here she goes, putting on a concert again. Because it's like,
bro.
It's like endless. Because it'll be like an hour. The other night, I don't know, a few days ago, that's what I did. And it's like so fun because I don't have to be on Facebook or Instagram. And now I can just sing.
Beautiful.
I love that. Awesome. Well, thank you both so much for today's episode. Again, we're all about social media detox versus always online. And I would just love for you to, again, share who you are, what you do, and how we can connect with you further.
My name is Elmira. I'm also known as the Heartbreak Healer. I help you get over your breakup with movement, self massage, just going within. I have a heart alchemy course coming up. And the way you can get in touch with me, the best way is my link tree, linktree.com/Elmira Loftin official. That's me, Heartbreak Healer.
My name is Lisa Cramer, and I'm a mental health practitioner that specializes in EEG and neurofeedback. And I practice outside of Chicago and outside of Denver. And the best way to find us is to head to either our socials or the website, which are mindbodyneuro.com or at mindbodyneuro. And we help with all kinds of stuff when people kind of have tried everything. So yeah, this was great fun, Viair. Thanks again.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, we are here every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. So if you would like to be a part of the Holistic Sister Circle group debates, please feel free to reach out. Or if you were someone who just wants to be a part of the Podcast Playground community, we have that as well. So thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.